Good morning, Mini Path Spiritual Center. How is everybody this morning? All right, it's the last Sunday of April. Can you believe it? My goodness. All right. Welcome to the sanctuary on behalf of Reverend Deb Moore. I'm Ryan Gill. This is Jackson, Daphne, and Mary Grace. We're going to start off by singing a couple of songs back to back. We're going to get our energy up. We're going to get centered for a great service today. Very special Sunday. We have our first round of new members for this new spiritual community that we are starting here in the Goodlettsville community. So we're so happy to have all of you here today. Let's stand up and let's release, let things go, and let the Spirit run our lives. There was a time in my life, thought I'd have to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say, if you're discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. God so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I can do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new. God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I can do. Show me all that I can do. Show me all that I can do. All right, thank you so much. Please be seated. All right, if there's any kids that'd like to go with Miss Steph. Oh my gosh. There goes half of our audience, guys. Well, let me say a big welcome to everybody. Welcome to Mini Path Spiritual Center, a place for authentic transformation. And we say that we authentically transform here because we are always on the road to becoming our authentic selves. And the more we walk the spiritual path that we have chosen, the more authentic we become. The more all of the stuff from the outside goes away, and the more what is truly us comes to the fore. And we celebrate that here. That's what Sunday mornings are for, to celebrate our authentic selves and to be able to come to a place where we can be our authentic selves and love each other because of it. So here at Mini Path Spiritual Center, we have 3 goals in mind. We want to love you. We want to give you a spiritual community where you can be your authentic selves. And then we want to give you some spiritual tools to take out into the world to live your life with. So we're so happy that you're here today. This is a very special Sunday. So let's go ahead and start some announcements. Hey, everybody say hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. Good morning, Mini Paths.
Good morning.
This has been, I kind of feel a little all at sea this week. I was raised Catholic and we lost a pope. And it's a really, in my family, it's a really big deal. And this is the first pope I've lost without my parents. And I just wanted to get that off my heart. My parents were devoted to the church. They were devoted to each other. They died an hour apart. They were just fantastic people. And I really missed hearing that phone. I used to call it Pope Watch. My dad would call and he'd be like, Pope's sick. Pope's still alive. And then he'd pick up the phone and be like, well, Pope's died. What are we going to do now? But yeah, so thank you. And I'm very blessed to be able to be with a community where I can get stuff like this off my heart and be greeted with smiles. So thank you. And I love you all for that. All right. So announcements, Sunday, April 27th. Y'all want to help clean up? Be part of the Spick and Span Shiners to get on the crew. See Frank Casanello or email appointments at thespiritchrysalis.com. Increase your spiritual energy through connecting with the magical cycles of the earth. We're talking crystals, herbs, seasons, and spiritual embodiment. Communing with nature on Wednesday, April 30th at 7 p.m. Zoom link and e-blast. All welcomed. Cost is $10. Join us for a cup of positivity. I like that. At the Happy Class this Thursday, May 1st from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. This class will feature a gentle yoga dance groove followed with a relaxing tea time. $20 adults, $15 teen. Sign-ups are at the front bulletin board, or you can email Steph at happilysteph@gmail.com. Let's dance around the maypole. If you want to participate in the dance or the ceremony or both, sign up in the front room. There is a group of us meeting to head to the Hindu temple May 10th for their annual community festival. If you want to join, email Frank at appointments@thespiritchrysalis.com. The youth graduation potluck will be Sunday, May 18th, immediately following the service. Bring a dish and celebrate our graduate, Jackson. Woo!
He also plays bass.
Yes.
And you couldn't tell from the pictures. Playing bass.
Oh, I didn't notice those. That's awesome. Connect Group. Let's meet for lunch Thursday, May 22nd, 12:30 at The Rudder, 126 River Road in Hendersonville. The Rudder is located on Old Hickory Lake, which makes it a good place to celebrate the beginning of summer. Come and bring a friend if you would like, and let's have fun while enjoying great food and great company. Sign-up sheet in the front room. Will be. Thank you. All activity or meeting links and contact numbers can be found on the website, weekly happenings, Google Calendars, or you can always email the church. Have a good week, everybody.
All right, invite Reverend Deb up, and I just have this big grin on my face that it's like, so happy.
Am I doing this or are you doing this?
Well, we will do it together.
Okay, good.
I'm your side man.
Okay, all right. I did not know I was the main I thought I was the side person here, but that's all right. Okay, welcome. I tell you what, we are just so thrilled to welcome a incredible new batch of what we would consider charter members of Mini Path Spiritual Center. Those of you who kind of were grandfathered in, or we should say grandmothered in, you're charter members as well. But we've got an incredible new group of folks who have joined us, and I'll be talking about that a little bit more during the service. But what we have is we have a mala for them, and we also have, I handpicked a stone for this class, and probably for every class. I was thinking about what stone to represent, and I landed on moonstone. Moonstone because it's a stone of new beginnings, and it balances masculine and feminine energies, and it's about self-discovery. But more importantly for me, for our spiritual community, we're all on different paths up the mountain, but we all look at the same moon, right? So it's the one place, one of the places of oneness where we come together. So we've got a certificate for them, so would you like to call them forward, sir?
Bernice Lowe.
Bernice. I need some help. Can you hold those? And just give me one. What's that? I'm going to put that on you. Give this to you. Welcome. Next.
April Powell.
April. Look, I feel like you've just landed in Honolulu right there. There we go. Welcome. Thank you.
Peggy Long.
Peggy. Peggy and I have fantastic conversations when I'm driving her home. She has a lot of great insight. Welcome. Welcome.
Valerie Haley.
Valerie.
Kelly Slagle.
Kelly. And here you go, my dear. Welcome. Ryan and Kelly go way back.
And I will say welcome to these two in absentia. I don't think Lori Gilmore is not here. Welcome, Lori.
Mm-hmm.
And Denise Ban. She's not here either, but we welcome Denise also.
Yes, absolutely. Is that it?
That's it. Thank you, guys.
All right. Warm welcome for all of them. Thank you. Thank you. And I will get out of your way.
I've been kind of hyperfixated on Star Wars recently. In this line, you'll be tempted by the dark side of the Force. My dark side just wants to wham that thing. I'm always tempted. Trying to do it gently. Good morning, Mini Path Spiritual Center. Let's begin this portion of our service by taking a deep, centering breath. Today's centering thought is life happens whether we worry about it or not. In the spring, things begin to grow. We don't have to think about it, it just grows. In fact, we give it little or no thought whatsoever, unless we want to plant something new and beautiful. Likewise, most of our worrying is useless as worrying about whether the grass will grow or the flowers will bloom in spring. But still, we spend our valuable time and energy worrying about the past or being lost in the future. It is important to reflect on the past and learn from it, and it will help us to consider whether we want to direct where we want to direct our lives and plan for the future. But if we stay in the past or live in the future without remembering to live in the present moment, we can lose sight of what is around us. There is love to be found, peace to be felt, and joy to be expressed. This is why we are here now on this planet. When we go into the silence, we can experience the present and remember who we really are, all born of the same stuff that fills the universe. We are children of the divine, and that presence permeates every cell in our body, every fiber of our being. Whether we go within and make that divine connection, when we go within and make that divine connection, it's easier for us to remember that whether we worry about it or choose not to worry about it, the grass will still grow and the flowers will still bloom. Instead of worrying, let's plant something new and beautiful in our lives and use our time watching it grow. Thank you. I didn't write this. And now, please repeat these affirming statements after me. The presence of the divine is in every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. There is love to be found, peace to be felt, and joy to be expressed. There is love to be found, peace to be felt, and joy to be expressed. Whether I worry or not, the Creator of the universe is always working for my good. Whether I worry or not, the Creator of the universe is always working for my good. And so it is.
That one, and I did write it for me. I needed to hear those words over the past month or so because I find myself either worrying about stuff that's already happened, something that might happen in the future, and I have to remember to stay in the present moment and do what I can do here and now. And so I'm glad if you felt that also, but definitely needed to hear that this morning. So, all right, it's time to sing. It's time for the monthly mantra. This is the last time we will sing this for a while. I do believe we will swing back to this one because this one has been a good one for us. We started getting it the very first Sunday. So let's stand up and see how we remember I am one, we are one. I'm just a spoke in the wheel, one grain of sand, but it feels so right to be right where I am. One little part of a much bigger plan, and the longer I'm here, the more I understand. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun. When it's all said and done, I am one, we are one. I'm just one drop of rain that falls from the sky, that runs to a stream in the ocean by and by. I could do worse than to give myself up on the crest of a wave in this ocean of love. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun. When it's all said and done, I am one, we are one. One gentle touch, one loving word, one single step toward a kinder world. I'm just one drop of rain that falls from the sky, that runs to a stream in the ocean by and by. One little part of a much bigger plan, and the longer I'm here, the more I understand. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun. When it's all said and done, I am one, we are one. I am one, we are one, like the rays of the sun. When it's all said and done, I am one, we are one. You guys sound great. Thank you. Please be seated.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I'll tell you what, I love hearing us sing together.
Yes.
That is an energy shifting activity. And when we do that, oh my gosh, it feels so good. I want to take a moment before we go into meditation to mention the fact that the gay imps were here yesterday. What is it? The Gladly All Ewans. I don't know what it stands for. Come clean up many paths. But folks gathered yesterday to do some cleanup outside and inside. Here's some pictures of them cleaning things out, dusting, mopping, yard work. All of that stuff was done. So we want to show our appreciation to those folks who did that yesterday. And that is a perfect opportunity for a spiritual community like ours to move into a meditative space. I invite you to close your eyes and center yourself. However that works for you. Maybe a deep breath. Maybe sending the message to parts of your body that it can relax. Today, during this very sacred time, I ask that we focus on this community. On this beloved, sacred community. This growing, evolving, transforming, engaged, awake community. In this room, right now, we are each surrounded by love. There aren't a lot of places in the world that feel quite this safe, nurturing, free, protective, joyful. So I invite you for a moment in the silence to focus on both the spokes and the wheel, on the individual grains of sand and the beach. And during this time together, to send as much love and good thoughts and compassion and joy to this spiritual community and to anyone here who comes to the forefront of your mind. Consider the people around you. Send them love. If you don't think of anyone in particular, just spread an entire net of love over this entire room, this entire building, our children, the flowers that grow outside, the cat who hangs around. All of these are part of this beloved community. We take this opportunity to shower it with love in the stillness, in the silence. I am so grateful for this place. I am so grateful for these people. Some people make their way here because they've been hurt, damaged. Maybe they felt betrayed. And above all else, what we hope to be is a sanctuary, a place of true peace, infinite joy, a place where all you could ever hear is how incredibly beautiful you are.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How deeply you're connected to my soul.
I already know I'm going to have to steal his Kleenex down here. How deeply you're connected to my soul. Hold on a minute. Oh, my goodness. Let me rearrange the furniture up here. We're going to talk about living in the flow today. Living in the flow. That's a common theme. You've heard that, right? You've heard it at yoga practices. You've heard it in spiritual centers. You've heard it in all kinds of places. I got to tell you that that idea is so, nature gives us such beautiful metaphors for the spiritual journey. And we're going to look at that over the course of the next couple of months as we're starting a Sacred Earth series, focusing a little bit on Celtic wisdom, but other wisdoms as well. But we're going to, we spend a lot of time moving beyond, putting aside the material, getting into our spiritual self. Let's marry those two now, right? Let's get into the dirt a little bit. And I love this idea of living in the flow. Let me tell you, that right there is my picture of heaven. Perhaps my favorite place in the world is sitting on the banks of the Little River in Elkmont campgrounds in the Great Smoky Mountains. Somehow it feels like the fairies must live there behind Little Rocks. And because my family is from that area, it might even be in my DNA, I'm not sure. But this whole idea, that idea of the river flowing, this idea of ebbing and flowing, of giving and receiving, of waxing and waning, work and rest, you know, for everything there is a season. The nature tells us that, the scriptures tell us that. And living in the flow is accepting the moment and engaging in the giving and the receiving. Not pushing against when it's time to give, when it's time to receive. So today we're focusing on giving and receiving, and the truth of it is, I'm going to talk about money, but if I'd put that on the slide, none of you would be here, right? So we're going to talk about giving, not just money, giving of our energy, our time, how we engage in that. And I promise you, even though a little bit of this is going to feel maybe like it's going to lean into a business meeting, it's not, I promise. I'm going to get to the point at the end, near the end, or before the end, long before the end, of doing what is my work here to do, and that is to turn this into spiritual wisdom the best I know how, right? So we have these new members, and they're an incredible group of people. Let me tell you, I cannot even. I've grown from all of their stories. I've learned. I've transformed from listening to them and getting to know them and hearing what's going on in their life. And the membership application that they signed is like a one-page that includes our beliefs and our values. You know about those beliefs and value statements that are on that big card you can get, that 5x7? What's that? That's 5x7. I don't know. 4x6. Yeah, okay. Card that you can get out there. And it includes things like, oh, now you have the right to vote, and oh, by the way, we support your individual path, and we just ask that you support everybody else's, right? Things like that. General statements about being supportive and voting and being engaged in your own spiritual journey. And it also says this. Whoops. Look at that. Boom. It says, I understand that membership implies a commitment to support this organization energetically and financially. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit. We are not a church. We're a spiritual center. But we operate financially with a church structure, right? We operate by donations. We operate by classes and events and different things like this, try to get different income to pay for the ongoing function of this church, right? I have had people ask me, hey, if I join, what is the membership fee? I've had people ask, what's the weekly or monthly membership fee to be a member here? And there are some spiritual centers that operate on that kind of format. My niece years ago joined a Unitarian Universalist church in Denver. And when she joined, some people who were on the membership committee or whatever took her out to lunch and asked what she was going to commit to giving. And they had her sign the automatic bank draft form right there at lunch, right? Right? Now, for some folks, that works for some folks. That works for, as long as I'm here, we ain't never going to do that, right? We are never going to do that. That is not the way we're going to function, right? But some of them, except for Jackson. But there is some value in knowing the numbers, and I wanted to get the numbers out of the way so we could get to the spiritual side of what it means to be in the process of giving and receiving. And I want you to know, if you're here for the first time or you haven't been here very often, hopefully the folks who've been around here for a while will tell you, I never talk about this. If this was something that someone walked in for the first time and they go, well, there's another preacher talking about money, I never talk about this. Right? And there's a reason why I never talk about this. And part of that is because we are many paths. We all have a different idea about all kinds of areas of spirituality, including money. Right? But there's some value in knowing the numbers. So let's get the numbers out of the way. I put flowers around it so it would be pretty. If we took the number of members that we have right now and our annual budget is right around $75,000. Not a large budget. For all of you here, none of this stuff is secret. This building is paid for. Thank goodness the people who saw us through the transition insisted on that. We're going to take what we made from the old building. This building is paid for. Because we're a nonprofit, we don't pay property taxes because we don't have to pay taxes. We have to pay electricity, we have to pay for water, we have to pay for lawn care, we have to pay for supplies like toilet paper and whatnot, we have to pay for staff. And our staff costs are very, very low. They're stipends at best. And I guarantee you right now, Stephanie is earning every penny. Right now. Every penny. Yes. And I will tell you that even the last time we added staff, we didn't increase the amount of staff pay, we reapportioned it. So we didn't even change how much was going out to staff. We have an office administrator who's Janet. You do not see her here. She works during the week for us, and she is amazing, knows all of this. We have certain people. We have Ryan, of course, me, Frank, who is our spiritual enrichment director, Steph. We have the person we could not live without, and that's Crystal back here. Thank you, mwah, right? And all those people together work together to make this place happen, right? And so if we took that very nominal fee, that $75,000, not a lot of money to run a spiritual organization, that budget, and we divided it among the members that we have now, it's about $38 a week, $165 a month. Now, those two things don't equal out. That's because 75,000 divided by 12 is different from 75,000 divided by 52, right? That's why it's different. And so those are the numbers. If we were going to have a membership fee, it'd be somewhere around that, but we don't. And here's what I don't want anyone to hear right now. I don't want anyone to hear a sense of expectation. That's not why I'm sharing these. There are some people who easily give more. There are some people who say, I don't think I could do that. That's not, but we're never going to ask. We're never going to ask. There are people here who aren't members who contribute, right? So we have good coming from all kinds of places. And we're not ever going to ask. But this is so you know, right? And then we started something. This is just maintaining. This is maintaining. Last year, we started something called Kaleidoscope. Is Benita here? Benita was here earlier. Out with the kids. Okay. We started some. Mary Grace is here, though. Mary Grace was part of that. Julie was part of that. Here's what Amy. I'm sorry. There's Amy. Yep, Amy. I forgot it over there on the corner. So we have the Kaleidoscope, which I was thinking about. This was our project by which we were going to do a fundraiser so that we could do some things like expand, right? It's my pet project to move that kitchen into that center room. It's my burning desire to see that happen. The Lord spoke to me and said, no. We're going to move that, because here's the thing, we're getting fuller and fuller, and I don't ever want anybody to go, well, you know what, I could go to Mini Pass this morning, but I always have a hard time finding I'm not going to go. I want to make sure there's room for everybody, and we could almost add a third to this room right here just by doing that one little thing. We got a parking lot we need to repave. We got a new sign we need to buy. We've got certain things we need to do, right? Certain things. We need space for all those youngins out there, because right now they're in the end of a lobby and a little bitty room for the babies, and we need a space for those folks. So I looked back, and I was like, let's see, that Kaleidoscope, it started near the end of last year, right? I looked back and realized that I had spoken about Kaleidoscope and this fundraiser last May. It has been a year. And we still need to move the kitchen. And we still need to pave the driveway. And we still need a new sign, right? Kaleidoscope comes from the Greek words for beautiful form watcher. And I love the way a kaleidoscope is all these different colors coming together to make one image, just like the many paths that we're all on and the oneness, right? Benita, I've got it written down. Benita, Amy, you were written down second, Amy. Julie, Mary Grace, those were the folks who were working on this. And then we went through we hit some lean months, and here's what we did. Because we're good stewards of our money, the first thing we do is we pay our bills. The first thing we do. So we put Kaleidoscope kind of on a hiatus for a while, and I think it's time to bring it back. I'd like to bring it back, personally, right? So how do we approach this? How do we approach giving in the kind of spiritual community that we are, where I can't sit here and tell you what to think about money or how to use money or how to approach giving in your own life, because that is your personal journey. Right? I'm not going to tell you that your personal journey is right, wrong, anything. And just in case you don't hear it from me later, this is not a talk about expectations. This is not a talk about, we don't track your giving at all. No one's paying any attention beyond what Charlotte has to track to tell the IRS, right? It's the only thing. She has to be able to tell the IRS because we're a nonprofit and you get to write it off on your taxes. So how do people think about money and spirituality and giving? Well, the first way is the traditional way, right? And a lot of people in the traditional way think about the idea of tithing. If you were raised in a church, you probably heard about tithing, right? And so tithing is this concept where you give 10% of your income. I've heard it so funny. I've heard prosperity teachers who'll be like, well, when people ask me, are you giving, should I give 10% of my gross or my net? Well, do you want to be blessed on your gross or your net? That's the kind of feedback that they get. I'm not ever going to come back at you with that because I'm not going to tell you one way or the other what you should do. This 10% idea is biblical, but barely. It's barely biblical. It's mentioned in the Old Testament a couple of places, like literally maybe 3 or 4, but it's mentioned in different ways. In one way, it's actually mentioned as the spoils of war being given to the king. At another time, it's mentioned as something that goes directly to the poor, to feed the poor. It's often talked about as sharing a tenth of your agricultural goods specifically to serve the greater good of the community, right? So offering a tenth, and by the way, that tenth concept is not just Christian, it's not just Jewish. You can find it in other religious traditions as well. And it's cultural to a certain extent. It's cultural. Jesus mentions tithing once, and he uses it to criticize the Pharisees. He says, woe to you who give a tenth, but you've ignored other important aspects of faith such as justice and mercy. Right? He's actually using that. Oh, you can say you give the right thing and do it, but you've forgotten the most essential things. And that's to operate from a place of justice and mercy, right? The few places that it's even mentioned in the New Testament, it seems that the idea of giving is actually shifting in New Testament theology from a specific amount or a percentage to giving from the heart and what your intention is. You know, God loves a cheerful giver, out of Corinthians. So this idea of tithing works for some folks. I know some folks who still, no matter how far they go, they're a tither, and it works for them, and they believe in it, and you know what? I'm sure it does work for them. I'm sure it does. And if that's what works, they should do it. It has certainly benefited the church over the years to emphasize the tithing model. Right? Regardless of how few verses there are, let's emphasize that. Churches have to function in the material world. Some countries include support of religious institutions as part of their tax base. We don't want that. Some places rely on the wealthy. In India, a lot of the temples that are built were built by wealthy people, and they're just open to everybody, right? So you have that traditional aspect of giving, that thinking about giving and spirituality, and then you have the prosperity gospel come along. It has its roots in the late 19th, early 20th century, this idea of the prosperity gospel. Historian Kate Bowler argues that this came from the intersection of 3 different ideologies: Pentecostalism, New Thought, and, quote, an American gospel of pragmatism, individualism, and upward mobility. And those 3 things got married together, and all of a sudden you have people like Andrew Carnegie writing The Gospel of Wealth, and you have Madame Helena Blavatsky starting the Theosophical Society, and you have Charles Fillmore, and that goes all the way up to Kenneth Copeland in the modern era, right? You have tent revivals to televangelists. This prosperity, by the way, also went hand in hand with physical health. So this prosperity gospel became this gospel of physical health. Myrtle Fillmore, the one of the founders of the Unity movement, had a physical ailment, a significant physical ailment, and she healed herself by affirming over and over again, I am a child of God and I do not inherit sickness. Right? And I'm not here to question whether or not that is true. I'm not here to question her experience at all. But I will say this. The part that's always kind of stuck in my craw just a little bit is that child who's born with birth defects is a child of God too. Right? So there are a whole lot of people, everybody's a child of God. And I'm not a better child of God because I don't deal with sickness. I'm not a better child of God because I'm wealthy. Right? And that's inherently been one of the problems with this philosophy and is still a problem that people push with. There's a paradox here. The paradox is that there is some value in examining the mind's power to shape substantial reality. There's value in that. And this approach inherently blames the victim for creating their own reality. I have a little issue with that. My personal ideas around giving changed greatly when I read a book and watched a movie called Magnificent Obsession. Some of you might know this. It was a 1929 novel by Lloyd C. Douglas. It was made into a film in 1935 with Robert Taylor and Irene Dunn. It was made into a film again in 1954 with Rock Hudson and Jane Wyman. And then it was a television series called Dr. Hudson's Secret Journal from 1955 to 1957. And here's the thing, the magnificent obsession in this very corny, cheesy film is giving. That once you get into the obsession of giving, that it just becomes this incredible engine in your life. This engine that drives you. But in the book and in the movie, there are two rules to the giving. One is, it must be done in secret. Must be done in secret. I always think about that when, very wealthy people are in the news for all this money that they give. I'm not judging it. They might have to. They need the IRS to see. Look, I'm giving this money, right? To a certain extent, maybe it has to be public. There's some folks who even make the argument, well, these wealthy people giving sometimes inspire other people to give. Okay, that's great. I'm not judging it. I just wonder what of the power of giving they just gave away by getting the attention for it. Years ago, when we were still Unity over at the other building, we used to take our offering with something called the Walk of Abundance. And at the end, what we put the money in was up front. Near the end of the service, music would play and people would walk up and put their money in. Some people loved it. I didn't care for it. Because now I got to tell you, sometimes we said, you know what, when we do the Walk of Abundance, we get more. We take care of more. So, maybe somebody was inspired by that. I don't know. But there was a part of that just felt like because these had become my driving principles, that I do it in secret, it didn't feel right with me. Some people it does, that's fine. The other rule was it must be paid forward and not back. You don't seek for return directly from that place, right? Giving is personal. So with these things in mind, what can I offer as the guiding principles around giving? And this is not just about money, it's about energy, it's about time, it's about self, it's about love. What would I say are the guiding principles around giving that might fit in with the many paths that we are on? So I have 3 thoughts about that. The first one is commitment. I will never be in that picture right there. I can just tell you, have you done it? I will never do it. God love you for doing it. I'm not going to do it. Don't like the heights. Not going to do it. Why someone would jump off a perfectly stable platform is the definition of insanity to me. But that is a moment of commitment right there. That guy, that's right. That guy is in a moment of commitment right there. Right? And there's no turning back. A few years ago, we were, and by the way, financially speaking, our organization has always done okay during times when a lot of other spiritual organizations were folding. We maintained, we survived. But there was a time about, 8 or 10 years ago when we were having a membership meeting and we were struggling. We were not able to pay, I'm sure Charlotte was there, we were not able to pay our mortgage that month. We had a mortgage back then. And so the membership was pulled together to say, what are we going to do? And I heard this voice inside of me going, $400, give $400 right now. And then part of me was like, I don't, who's this we? Have I got a mouse in my pocket that's got a bank card? Whatever. But I thought to okay, all right. So I did it. I said, I'll commit to I'm going to give $400 right now. Charlotte had the little striper thing over there. Let me run the debit card. Let me get over there, and here's your $400 right there. But I heard that, and I was committed to the place. I was committed to what we were doing. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to honor what I hear inside of me. And I happened to go home that day, and I went to check my mail. I lived in an apartment at the time. I stopped by the little mailbox, and I checked my mail, and I opened it, and I took it. I saw something I didn't recognize. I got back to my apartment. It was from my insurance company. I'm like, whatever. I opened it later that afternoon. It was a check for $402.75. Right? Now, here's the thing. When I tell you that, it's a great story. And I'm glad that I did it, and I do think my commitment has something to do with that. Maybe the universe was telling me that. But here's the thing. If I had said, I believe that if I pay this $400, the universe will pay me back, and I'm going to start looking for it, I don't think it ever would have come. Because I had to be willing to commit and to give willingly, freely, from my heart for that to happen. The gift came from the act of commitment. I had a friend years ago who was having a little bit of a challenge. He was a young guy having a little bit of challenge in his marriage. And I said, how's it going? One day I was like, how's it going? You guys doing okay? And he said, you know, Deb, some days the commitment has to be stronger than the love. He was like 25. I'm like, you are so wise. I just learned something from you, right? Some days the commitment has to be stronger than the love. Abraham Lincoln, he really did say this. I looked it up, not just the internet. Abraham Lincoln said, commitment is what transforms a promise into a reality. Commitment is the stuff character is made of, the power to change the face of things. It is the daily triumph of integrity over skepticism. This sounds a whole lot like manifesting, the power to change the face of things, right? It's what transforms a promise into a reality. I promise we're going to get that kitchen moved into that center room one day. But it's going to take commitment and a determination to make it happen. Sounds a lot like manifesting. I can affirm something without committing to turning the promise into a reality. I can say, well, I've heard affirmations really work, so I'm going to get up and say them every day and then see what the universe does. But I'm just going to say them, that's all. And it might be that I simply end up saying, you know, that affirmation stuff is a bunch of bull. Doesn't work. Because I always kept one foot out of the door, right? One foot in the door, one foot out. Just in case. I'm going to try this affirmation stuff and see what happens. Rather than I am going to commit. It's integrity over skepticism, the triumph of integrity, remaining true to something instead of giving into the temptation to see it as a bunch of bull. Let me tell you something. Being a skeptic is easy. It's easy. Being the person who just poo-poos everything is easy. Being the person who says, you know what, I believe in this, I'm going to commit to it. That's where courage and strength comes in. Your giving of money and energy and time and personal presence to everything in your life, but also to this community, becomes transformational through the energy of commitment. That energy that says, I'm all in. That's what I love about these folks who have said, I want to be a member of this place. They're saying, I'm all in. I'm all in. Let's be a part of what's going on here. You know, I know a lot of folks are commitment phobic. They want to make sure that they keep themselves a little escape route, right? Let me sit near the door. Let me stay where I can get out really easily. And I'm going to say this with all the love in my heart. That is not the energy that transforms things. That is not the energy that transforms things. To put commitment energy into your giving, my recommendation is decide on an amount between you and your higher power, your divine, whether that's a tithe, whether it's a specific number or a percentage, whatever works for you. It's not a commitment to go, oh, I'm here, what do I have in my, right? You can, we'll take it, right? What do I have in my, but to say, no, I am going and I'm committed, and this is what I've committed to, right? Commit to your presence here, not just the financial giving. Your presence matters. We are different when you're not here. Yeah, Let me look every one of you in the eye. We are different when you're not here. And so the presence, that commitment to presence. Now, again, don't ever think that Deb's getting on our being committed out of guilt is not going to work. Being committed because I'm not here to guilt anybody into anything, right? Being committed because you care about this place, right? The second piece that I would offer is this: intentionality. It's different from commitment. Commitment can be a set and forget kind of thing. Sometimes it can be like, okay, I've committed to giving this much and I'm doing it, and so now I'm not thinking about it anymore. Intentionality keeps us focused on it. In the Japanese train system, they have a process called point and call. I love this. I use it with my students all the time. They have dramatically reduced the number of accidents and incidents on the Japanese train system by all their conductors and all their employees. Everything they do, they point to it and they call it out. Closing the door, turning on the light, opening the door, God, whatever it is. If you can't find your car keys on a regular basis, I recommend pointing and calling when you set things down. Setting my keys on the counter. Right? I was not talking to you, honey, I promise. Right? Setting this down here, putting this up here. What about that intentionality? A few years ago, I had to write a check to the IRS every year because I was an independent contractor. And every time I would write that check, I would say something in the memo line like, "Thank you so much." And as I would write the check, because I could have written that check being really pissed off about writing that check. But instead I wrote the check going, "Thank you for the roads, and thank you for the education, and thank you for the fire department, and thank you for blah, blah, blah," all the way down, whatever I could think of, right? Before renewing your tags, thank you for mobility. Thank you for freedom. Thank you for the roads to drive on. Thank you for this car I get to drive. Being present in the moment of giving. What if when you gave to this place you said, "For the love and the community and the spiritual growth and the personal evolution and the beauty of finding kindred spirits and the gift of sustaining this place for others, I give freely, intentionally, and from a place of deep commitment to my spiritual community." That's the energy behind everything that I would love to see given to this place. Not just my time, presence, right? Because of all of this, I'm intentionally going to be here. I found this on the internet. I have no idea who said it, couldn't find who said it, doesn't matter, we're going to use it anyway. Intentionality is the art of being fully present in each moment and making conscious choices that align with our values. That sounds like be here now. Be fully present in this moment and making conscious choices that align with who we are and who we say we are. Conscious choices that are true to our path. Choices that are in step with our own drummer, whatever they are. The third part is the most important. Commitment, intentionality, love. I love to plant flowers in the spring. It's one of my favorite things to do all year round. I love to plant flowers in the spring. I am pretty soon going to have a yard of nothing but flowers in the spring, which is going to save me money and paying someone to mow my yard, which is going to give me more money for flowers. Planting flowers feels like an act of love to me. It's love for the earth. It's love for that plant. It's love for the bees and the hummingbirds who will benefit. Love for the people driving past my house who get to see the flowers, right? To plant a flower is to offer love that has no limit. Like, it's a way of saying, let me just spread love around. I have no idea who's going to receive it, how they're going to receive it, what they're going to get out of it. I have no idea how many creatures will benefit and in what ways. I just plant the love. This is the most important. It would be my hope that every person who donates time, money, energy to this organization in the moment of giving is thinking to themselves, I love this place. I love my spiritual journey. I love my evolution. I love my growth. I love the people here. I love who we are together as a community. Let me tell you, over the years, I'm a preacher's kid. I've been around a lot of preachers. I've seen a whole lot of people in leadership at spiritual organizations who end up, maybe it just gets this way, it erodes, but they get to a place where I don't know that they're doing it out of love anymore. They're doing it because they're good at it. They have the credentials. They don't know what else to do. They kind of like it most of the time. I don't know, and it's not mine to judge them. I can tell you this, I made a decision a couple of years ago that I was either going to be here in love or I was not going to be here. I was going to be here because I loved this place. And let me tell you something. The more that I actively, intentionally committed to loving this place and loving these people, the more I loved you guys. Right? It feeds on itself. And I can honestly say, I love Sunday morning, and I love each one of you. There's not a single person in this room I don't love. That's a beautiful, beautiful, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that, right? To do what I do through love, to see through the eyes of love. And let me tell you something, it has changed me. Making a commitment to seeing through the eyes of love will change the giver. Giving in love changes the giver. The gift given in love becomes a mustard seed of bounty, a widow's mite of possibility, a basket of 5 loaves and 2 fish that can feed a multitude. That's what giving in love will do. That's how it becomes magical. Vincent van Gogh says, what is done in love is done well. 1 Peter tells us that love covers a multitude of sins. It turns imperfection into perfection. The scriptures say that these 3 things remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these in love. Well, I'm going to tell you, commitment, intentionality, and love, these 3 things, but the greatest of these is love. And in fact, though, I'm not sure you can love well without commitment and intentionality. That's what makes the love true and pure. It's not haphazard. It isn't an afterthought. It doesn't come from guilt or a sense of obligation. It comes from a pure and beautiful, committed, and intentional focus of heart energy. I have no idea what timeline we're on. I don't even know what time zone we're in. Maybe we're in Mini-Path Standard Time. I don't know if we're on God's time or the universe's time or a time that is completely driven by our own level of commitment and interest. I have no idea. I don't know when we'll move the kitchen or when we'll pave the parking lot or when we'll build on a youth room. I don't know if Kaleidoscope will return or a new iteration of it, or if we'll just keep on keeping on. I'm okay with that. Let me just say this. I don't think there's anything wrong with who we are right now. Right? I don't think there's anything wrong with who we are right now. I'm not going to imply that we are somehow inadequate, because that hasn't happened yet. All in good time. But I do believe this with every ounce of my being. I believe that a group of people who are committed to intentionally living in the flow of giving and receiving from, by, and through love have limitless potential. Namaste. Ooh.
So where's the blue vase? Where's the QR code? That's right. I do not need to mention that at this point in time. But I will say that I strongly agree with Reverend Deb, and I feel I love each and every one of you too. It's been such a joy for me to be in leadership and to see people come through the doors and fall in love as I did, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, whatever it was, when we were at a different, our previous location. And you know what? I look out on Sunday mornings and I still see some of those people here today. So, 18 years later, here we are amongst this great new opportunity that we have, and all of this love, right? Just that we swim in. We just get to swim in it all the time. So thank you for bringing your energy to play with ours, right? I will remind you to check your What's Happening newsletter that we've got coming out on Tuesdays that lists all of the things that we've got coming up. If you want to sign up for that and haven't already, there's as soon as you're going out the door, there's a little credenza there against the wall that has the sign-up sheet for your emails, and we will get you on that list. I try to do that weekly. Sometimes I don't make it, but I try. So let's all stand together and say the prayer for protection as we prepare to leave and take on this week to come. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Whoa, I don't know what happened. That is not the correct sound. Time out. Let me reboot. I don't know what happened. It wasn't there before.
I know. Before this commercial.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
okay. All right. That works. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Peace. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. Let's go to joy. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. It all comes back to love. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. Watch me. We let it be. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great week.